This trip I'm going on an Oak Hall ski holiday, who are a Christian organisation that have been running ski trips to Switzerland and other places for 60 years. In the Jungfrau ski region where we're going, we stay in Lauterbrunn, which is at the base of the valley below Mürren, halfway between Wëngen and Mürren by train. On this trip, we took a bus from Borough Green train station near London. Taking a bus for me is always a little bit of a challenge, but I've done 8 hours before in Canada. Well, because I'm taking the train, I'm going to stay overnight and then go the next evening. It should only be a couple hours to Dover, the ferry, and then it's only 600 miles after that to Jungfrau, so we're expecting it to be there probably 11 or 12 o'clock the next morning, and then probably skiing skiing the next day. The resort's pretty high. I think it starts around the mid-15 to 1800s and then goes up to a bit over 3,000. Unfortunately this year, the top part of the cable car Mürren is closed. That's the famous, iconic scene from the Majesty's Secret Service, the James Bond film, with the revolving restaurant. So that won't be open this season because they have been working on a mammoth infrastructure project that is expected to open partially by March this year and then finish by the middle of 2026. The snow, looking at there at the moment, is pretty good, at least half a metre on lower slopes and increasing gradually as you go up. Wëngen is one of these places that can be low in snow, and Grindilwald is even worse. But at the moment, it looks like they've got a good amount of snow. I think it's lucky that I'm going so early, because sometimes if you go to these places later, the snow melts away. Like last year, at the end of January, the snow came, it was really good, and then this washed away. And people we spent many thousands of pounds and spent 400 quid on a week's lift pass, ended up missing out a lot. The build-up was certainly worth it. Arriving into Jungfrau ski region, you're immediately met with this wonderful, awe-inspiring mountain towering above you, and that's just a cliff. When you get up on top of Mürren or in Wëngen and still have thousands of meters of rock towering above you, you really do understand why Jungfrau is one, not if top 5 most beautiful places in the world. Based on what I'd heard about Mürren, Wëngen, Grindilwald, it seemed like I was going to have a very good time, but when I was there, that compounded. The snow quality was exceptionally good. I started off giving... The score of 9.4 was given due to the almost 300 kilometres of quality runs with blues, reds and blacks, with a little bit of off-piste available for those more adventurous, with very varying from the lows of Grindilwald up to the top of First and of Piz Gloria in Mürren, giving a wide range of skiing for all levels and abilities, but focusing more on intermediate to advanced skiers, especially with some of the pistes that were quite narrow and were very up and down, offering excellent acceleration for those that are wanting thrills of a quick ascent, but also providing plenty of opportunity for younger or less experienced skiers or boarders to hone the craft of skiing and to have a wonderful experience on the mountain. Like all resorts, there are some downsides, however, which were about Jungfrau and 9.4, but due to a few runs. However, there are some knockbacks later on in the days when there's been a lot of people using the same runs, that there are still a number of T-bars. Literally the worst lift still in operation today, especially for those who've had issues with the legs, because the pressure discrepancies with the lifts and pisting, I lowered it to 9.2. The food availability in Jungfrau region was very good. The prices were not as bad as you would expect, just average Swiss prices. But what I did find is that things like the hot chocolate and stuff like that were ridiculously expensive for the price, wanting €5 for something where you have to get hot milk from a machine and then have to add your own chocolate powder. So overall, the Jungfrau region is a wonderful place to ski, but is made better when there's smaller crowds out of school holidays, and when there's a race going on, going to another part of the region like Mürren, which is what I did, where it was quiet, even though on the opposite side of the mountain, thousands and thousands of people had come to watch the Wëngen Super G and Slalom race. What was funny with that was that we were in the same train car as Marco Odermatt, and he and his camera crew were kicked out because they were in a reserve coach. Leave it up to the Swiss to keep everything in line. We were just like, no, we don't mind having him in our coach at all. Overall, my experience was very good, and glad to say that Jungfrau is number 2 on my list of 61 different resorts, with Zermatt being the first, third and fourth being Kitzbühel and Revelstoke, with Mount Bachelor also with Revelstoke in 5th place. As mentioned before, it was the men's Super G and Slalom the week that we were in Wëngen, and I leave you with some footage from the Swiss version of the Red Arrows flying around and making some very interesting shapes in the sky. Please remember to like and subscribe to the videos and stay tuned for the next adventures coming soon in Japan. And what is almost certain the last of the great tier point runs before BA scrap the current system for a revenue-based model. Thank you very much for listening, ladies and gentlemen.